Hi, I'm Larry Gates with the B2B Growth Club. I'm here with Steve Johnson. Steve is one of our masterclass presenters, having done a masterclass on product marketing. Now, Steve, one of the things that we actually didn't talk about this in the masterclass, but one of the things that I often find in talking to businesses is that there's a little turf wars often between sales and marketing leaders, right?
Almost never.
No, yeah, the classical turf wars. Okay, so now we're talking about product marketing and wrapping into that perhaps product management, all right? Where does it belong? How do you decide which side of the organization or where would you plant that?
Good point. I have seen product roles all over the organization. But one of the things that I like to look at is, what is the one goal? In fact, I find any title with an ampersand in it to be disturbing.
Like sales and marketing?
Yeah, I mean, when you see VP of Sales and Marketing, doesn't that really mean VP of Sales and people who do sales, whatever sales wants, right? Marketing is not the slightest bit strategic if it's VP of Sales and Marketing, it's VP of Sales and Sales Support. I did see one place where they flipped it. They went, VP of Marketing and Sales, which everybody went, oh, well, that means that's a marketing person who got the sales department. And that doesn't work. I actually encountered someone who was odd. It was VP of Development in Marketing. Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
It's like, that makes no sense to me. And yet, actually, both development and marketing are about the future, where sales is absolutely about the now, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of makes more sense. But anyway, as a rule, I don't like ampersands in title. Yeah. Another one is VP of R&D, VP of Research and Development, which is so funny because everyone in that department thinks they're in the research department, where everyone outside the department wishes they would do some damn development.
Right.
Ampersands are a mess.
They are.
So I've seen product management or product marketing in the sales department, and without picking on sales, they see it as sales support. They use that role as sales engineering. And sales engineering is a really important role. If you have a direct sales force with a complex product, odds are you need one sales engineer for every 2 or 3 salespeople. Unfortunately, many organizations it's 1 to 5 or 1 to 10. And so the sales team doesn't have all the resources it needs to be successful. And they go wandering through the rest of the organization.
They're pulling wherever they can.
Right?
Yeah.
And they say, well, hey, let me grab the product manager. Let me grab the product owner. Let me grab a developer. Let me grab the president, And for that matter, I've had a lot of salespeople say, hey, I like taking the president on sales calls. He's really good.
He's really good. I like taking developers on it.
Right. And in fact, I got into a big argument, and it was the funniest thing. We were completely arguing different points, but it was a violent argument. Anyway, the VP of Sales said to me, I really like the sales guys taking product managers and product marketing managers on sales calls because they're really good at it. And I'm like, they really are. But that's not their job. That's another job. It's called sales engineering. And they said, yeah, but they're really good. And I said, yeah, they really are.
And they're helping us close business.
But it's not their job. And they're like, but they're really good. And we kept going. It lasted for like 20 emails. They're really good at it. That is a true statement. It is not their job. That is also a true statement. And that's really what happens when the product role, whatever its modifier is, whether it's product management or product marketing, that's what happens when they're in sales. And guess what? It's kind of the same thing that happens when they're in marketing. They're marketing support. So marketing figures out what campaigns they run, and marketing figures out what programs they're going to run, and then they turn to product and say, okay, we need some words to go with these things we've decided to run. Sometimes we see product management and product marketing in development. And that means they become development support. They sit next to the development team and they answer their questions as best they can. And there's a lot to be said for that, except, golly, if you spend 24 hours a day sitting next to a developer, how can you answer their questions about what customers may or may not like if you haven't been able to see a customer? I'm astounded at the number of people in a product role within development who have not talked to a customer in a year or more.
Sure.
And yet the developers are saying, tell me if the customer would like this.
So is the only solution here to have them independent?
That's where I was headed. I think the only solution is to have them be independent in their own product role. And we're seeing a lot more of that today than we were even 5 years ago. And one of the tricky parts is everybody wants to report to the president. So suddenly one day you've got 49 people all reporting to the president. And we know that won't work. But what I like about it is product is focused on what products we should build and what should come next and how we can better support the product. And then development builds it, and then marketing tells people, and then salespeople goes and gets the money. And it's pretty clear, straightforward goals. And when you find your product team or your sales team or your marketing team, any of your teams are not focused on their jobs because they're busy doing other people's jobs, then you've got an org chart problem. Org charts never really fix dysfunction, but they can certainly make it worse. Or they can make it better.
They can make it worse.
At the end of the day, the true goal is all of us should be working for the same company.
Yeah.
It sometimes seems like the VP of sales has his company,
right,
and the VP of marketing has seemingly a different company. Ideally, we should all be on the same page, and each department should have a very crisp definition of what they're responsible for.
Yeah.
And being responsible for product and the business planning seems like a independent role.
Back to the titles again, where you said ampersands are a problem. So you got a sales and marketing role. Somebody with sales, that's maybe a sales and marketing leader watching this right now, saying, well, okay, that's all well and good, but the fact is we probably need some product marketing, and there's no better person to have it report to than me, because who are they going to argue with anyway? It would be me representing both sales and marketing, right? So what recommendations would you have for an organization like that, where you don't necessarily have enough critical mass to separate out all those roles, right? And maybe to support an independent product. I mean, I realize that's probably the best case scenario because you want them to be independent and have, well, not necessarily independent, but interdependent, and have enough authority so they can get things done. But at the same time, you've got the realities of conducting a business that may not warrant having that many functions.
Good point. Good point. Well, I would certainly be clear with the expectations of the role. It's going to be really hard. Let me say this. It's going to be really hard for a VP of sales and anything to hire somebody in a product role because they know what's coming. The product manager or product marketing manager being in the sales department, they know they're going to be doing sales support. They know they're going to be doing sales engineering. So this is going to be super hard to recruit to. But it does make, I hear you, it does make sense to say, we don't have this much breadth in the leadership team, so what department makes the most sense? I would say a product marketing person would be best aligned with development and focused on product, while sales and marketing is more focused on customers and markets. That's one way of thinking of it.
Yeah, because one of the things that you've talked about in the masterclass is that the product marketing person is the one that is to be most customer intimate, to understand both where there's buyer friction and where there's user friction, and that's something that is helpful both for development as well as marketing and sales.
Indeed.
All right. I hope you enjoyed this video, and subscribe and click like to get more, as more will be coming.